Hey everyone, Chris Sawyer here. The Varietal Show is back. Wow. I am here with one of my dear friends, Heidi van der Mehden. I feel like I'm Danish or Swedish when I say that. German. I'll go German on you. But we are talking Merry Edwards. Anyone never taste Merry Edwards wines? I hope so, because if you didn't, you got something to learn about life right now, because Merry Edwards is an amazing person. 11 years ago, Heidi got hired here, and I remember Heidi, when we met, was at Arrowwood, when you were the winemaker with the great Richard Arrowwood, and that's where you and I became buddies. And so I've watched Heidi really kind of evolve, and here we are tasting amazing new selections, couple of them, for you guys to see that we're going to be tasting. But it's because we're going to be tasting some of your wines next week, which is great. Merry Edwards wines will be featured at the great event that we're doing next week for the Sonoma County Vintners, the Pour+Explore Pinot Noir Extravaganza. And that's happening on April 23rd, and it's going to be at Bricoleur Winery. And I only asked the best of the best to be there, and obviously Merry Edwards is one of them. This is an amazing thing that we do here in Sonoma County, and I'm so lucky to be a part of it. This is actually an interesting one. This is the Rich Haven Vineyard Designate, and this is the 2023. Heidi, tell us a little bit first before we get into the wine. What got you started in wine? Don't go through every step, but yeah.
I have a degree in chemistry. I'm from Sonoma County.
Yes. Me too. Yep.
And so I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. My dad said, why don't you try the wine industry? It's all around. And I tried it out and I fell in love. That's
great. I mean, it's an amazing thing. I grew up here too, and I like to say the wine industry grew up around us. Because when we were kids, this didn't look like this. I mean, I'm looking out right here on the estate property here at Merry Edwards, and that's where we're at, Merry Edwards Winery, right here in the little town of, would you consider this Grayton, or what are we? Kind of Grayton or Sebastopol, or right between the two? Or
yeah, I mean, our address is Sebastopol, but we are right around the corner from the little hamlet of Grayton.
And it's on 116, let's just put it that way. Highway 116 is where we're at. This is a great one. Just over the hill here, we can see Santa Rosa, and right there is Grayton, and right there is Sebastopol. So we're in a super triangle here. But, Merry Edwards, let's just talk about her for a minute. What a woman. 1972 graduate of UC Davis, one of the great classes of all time, in my opinion. I mean, you had Steve McCrosty in there, you had Gary Eberly, you had a number of other people. That was one of the first classes of the modern era, where you can still see their names out there on actual labels. Yeah, you can. And Mary came here. She did so many great things. She, obviously got Matanzas Creek going, which is a great winery. She did so much. Linmar right over the hill here. She had some property. She had a batch there when they bought that property. She was standing on the property when the people bought it. She said, I want this piece of the block right here. I want it for me. But that's Merry Edwards. She doesn't know. And she's a very, very dear friend of mine. I love it where she's still on my phone. And, she's kind of retired, but I wouldn't say that. She is like a winemaker emeritus, which means she consults for people, and she's great. And she's still a great friend of ours.
Yes, she is.
And she's one of the heroes of Sonoma County. Let's talk a little bit about this. This is kind of like home ranch material. So tell us a little bit about where this is and what we're doing with this.
This is Mary's home ranch.
This is Mary's home.
Planted right around her house in the Sebastopol Hills area of the Russian River.
Wow, this is an amazing wine. Just so dark and deep and dense. I mean, it's great. Is this a little bit of whole cluster? You got a little bit?
Yeah, in this one.
Wow. It's just this dark.
Descent.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
And this is Mary's clone.
Oh, this is
her selection.
Oh, this is Clone 37? Oh, Clone 37, you guys. If you don't know Clone 37, it's really one of the greatest. It's one of the things that I totally researched. It was because some years ago for the North Coast Wine Challenge, it was Ziggy the wine gal, Randy Olam, and I picked this one wine, and it was like, wow, that Pinot was amazing. And we sent it to the final round. There's 25 judges. 23 raised their hand. First red wine. Who votes for that? 23 votes out of 25. It got the biggest margin win of all times. And I was like, oh, what the hell is this stuff? It was clone 37. I had to look it up. And Mary herself worked at Mount Eden, and she actually took the cuttings herself to UC Davis. This is in the early 80s, and she actually paid $1,000 herself for it to be actually propagated and everything. $1,000 back in the early 80s is a lot of money, you guys. That's like $10,000 now. So that's an amazing thing. That's actually when here in Santa Rosa area, when I moved to Oregon for a couple of years of my life, this population of Santa Rosa area was 75,000.
Is that it?
That was it. It's doubled, you guys, since then. Let's just put it that. I think it's actually even more than that. But wow, what a great color, pretty. I love the nose on this too. And one of the interesting things that I found out about 37 is it can grow in a little bit warmer kind of climate too, but it just adjusts really well. It's actually where Mount Eden is actually kind of looking at Silicon Valley. It's on that side of the mountain down in Santa Cruz Mountains. It's kind of close to actually a Ridge Winery. And so you're growing Cabernet down the block, but this gets a little bit of the wind here. And so Mary lives kind of near Forestville?
No, she moved. So this is over southwest of Sebastopol, town Sebastopol, and about 11 miles from the coast as the crow flies. So, and it's a northern facing vineyard, so it's cool. You get those afternoon breezes from the Pacific. Yeah.
One time, Mary and I went, and Ken, her husband, we were sitting on this hillside, and we were eating, crackers and cheese and crackers and tasting wine. And I said, "Oh, what's that block down there?" She said, "Oh, that block's going. It's out of here." And it was like Faux 828. And if you guys don't know what we're talking about, Faux 828 is not even like necessarily Pinot Noir, but everyone thought it was because it was snuck to the United States in I believe it was the liner of a London fog jacket from the owner of Archery Summit, who stuck the cuttings in his jacket and brought it in. And Mary just did not like that one. Oh, God. She well, okay.
Well, it overproduced, from what she told me. It was like massive clusters.
Yeah, and what do you do with this
It wasn't
stuff?
making great Pinot.
Wow, what a great, it has so much body. And I'll say this, if you guys, there's Pinots, you guys, and then there's Merry Edwards Pinots. These have body and structure, and she just didn't like kind of ones that were kind of wimpy.
Oh no, we wanted a powerful Pinot.
Wow, what flavor! Just dynamic. I mean, a lot of blue fruit, but dark berries. There's like raspberries. Like we just ran down to the creek, picked some blackberries, squished them, put them in the glass, and here we are. Oh, that's good. It's got alcohol in it. It's so good. It's so good.
Thank you.
So, you've been here for 11 years. You've got to work with so many different things. How's it working with different clones? And you got any faves? Or, yeah.
Actually, my favorite that I've been working with is 37 and 667.
Yeah,
and
667. Yep.
we have both of those planted at our Merritt Estate Vineyard, which is the first vineyard Mary planted for our winery. And I love the combination of the fruit and intensity of 667 with that silkiness of the 37.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, it's so good. It does have a teeny bit of cola kind of note in it. It's more of it's more of like almost like a Dr. Pepper cola kind of thing, because I like Dr. Pepper. Actually, Dr. Pepper, you guys, just for your information, uses real raspberries in there. I will tell you that.
Way, really?
I found this out because I was in Willamette Valley, and someone said, "Oh, Chris, do you like that wine?" I said, "Yeah, that wine's really good." Well, this story was that this girl came back from her, sabbatical over in Burgundy and told her parents, "Hey, can we plant some grapes, please?" And all the parents said, "Well, we got to pull out those raspberries. I don't know, because we sell them to Dr. Pepper." I'm like, "What? You actually sell raspberries to Dr. Pepper?" It's so good. I have respected Dr. Pepper so much since then. That is my preferred beverage of colas, for sure.
Excellent.
Just so you know. Just so you guys know, too. This is a great wine. This is a big event that we're doing next week. It's the second annual. Last year was... It was people like floating on clouds after this. I mean, it just made people so happy. They were so, I don't know, they were energetic. Wineries got to taste each other's wines, and it was just a love fest. And this is going to happen And you can go to sonomawine.com to find out about this. This is the Pour+Explore Pinot Noir Extravaganza. And I'm just so glad that you're going to be there. There's going to be some other ones too. Rocchioli, William Sellium, Dumal, Cirque, and Chev, which I just did on Instagram Live, and 30 others. I mean, it's going to be outrageously cool. And we talk about clones. I think that I would definitely say that 37 is one of my favorites too. 23 is one that I really like, Mariah Feld, which is actually a Swiss clone. And 2A is the other Swiss clone that we kind of think about. We don't grow much of it here, more of an Oregon thing. Yeah, but David Lett, who came from University of California, Davis too, he actually planted clone 1A up in Oregon first, and people don't even know that. And that's another Swiss clone that came from the 2A. But we have so much good opportunities here. I mean, it's been really interesting, I think, for both you and I who've seen the landscape change here. I mean, where we're at right now, I mean, this is all apple trees in the old days, you guys. And that's why Grayton, it's actually where you still see the trucks coming out of Grayton with apple juice. But it's because we have the great Gravenstein apples, and some of you know that I had a restaurant named Gravenstein Grill, and you've been there, and it's very, very good.
Sad.
Very, very sad too. But it's just a fun thing what you and I have seen about this area and why Pinot is so special.
For sure. I mean, when you think about all of the vineyards that we have as a state vineyards, Mary planted for us, 100%.
The great Mary.
And she didn't rip out other vineyards or buy other vineyards and replant them. No, most of them were abandoned apple orchards that she planted to Pinot Noir.
Yeah, and it was sad that they were abandoned, but we just can't eat that many apples here. Most of the apple industry went to Washington, and that was the downfall of this. But in those kinds of areas of Washington, you could never grow grapes like this. And we needed people like Mary, who were the kind of the cutting edge. There's a number of them. I think about Fred Shearer and some other people that planted some of the great vineyards here too for Dalinger, and part of that Linmar project that he did, and Rodney Strong himself. I mean, he planted. You look at Iron Horse, winery, and that's great. That what they purchased there, because it had 50 acres of Pinot and 50 acres of Chardonnay before they were even popular. That Rodney planted for some doctors in San Francisco, and it's a crazy story. But we have so many great selections, but I just love what you guys do here. It's really great. You're bottling some stuff right now. Let's talk about the 2023 vintage and what it was for you.
Oh, 23 was probably
an interesting one.
It was they're all interesting. 23 was one of the most stressful vintages I've ever experienced because it was very cool.
Yeah.
Uncharacteristically cool for California.
And very long.
Yes.
I did mention this in the thing that I did with Michael Brown for the Cirque wines, but 23 was an interesting one because it actually it was the 40-year anniversary of the Russian River appellation, and we had this big party at Boleto Winery, and it was great, but everyone came and they were super stressed out because they had actually scheduled it for after we were going to be picking season. And no one had picked yet.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like at the end of September, early October, and they haven't picked yet. This is very, very rare for this area, but it made great wines.
It made amazing wines.
Yeah. So
tested my patience.
They're great. The second wine we're going to taste right now is the Olivet Lane. This is where I spent part of my childhood, is on Olivet Lane. And this, I did, and it's right over here. So I grew up in Wiki up in Olivet Lane. So I'm a Russian River kid, and I feel good about that. Where did you grow up in? Were you a Santa Rosa girl?
I was a Santa Rosa girl, middle of the city.
Yeah, I was born in Santa Rosa. Yeah.
I was born in San Francisco.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we are North Bay. We are North Bay. Yeah. So it's great. Olivet Lane's a special little area out there. It's kind of what we call the Santa Rosa Bench out there, and it's really kind of the flatlands, but it has such unique soils out there. They're a little bit different than the Gold Ridge soils that are on these mountains out here. How's it kind of different for you?
So, first of all, the soils have a lot more clay.
Yeah.
So you're looking at like kind of, when it dries out, it cracks up. It's not the well-draining, loamy ones that you get out here in the Gold-rich Sebastopol soils. And this is really old vines. Olivet Lane was planted in the mid-70s. So this is really heritage Pinot Noir from the Russian River Valley.
Yeah, I mean, this is the cool thing. You know, it's right near Deloach, too. Deloach is just down the road from that. And, you know, the Pellegrinis and these families that are very old school. And actually, I'll give a lot of credit to actually Christina Deloach, who was one of the people that founded the appellation, actually. Lou Fapiano, her, and the guy that, it's another winery, it's gone now, is kind of an Italian name. He was actually a pilot of a small Cessna plane, and he flew over and he took pictures. And so they were all based on like laying this 11-foot map out and saying, okay, so we were going to draw the lines here for the appellation. And they went to all these people in Healdsburg, and they're all, we don't want in there. Don't count us in. And so like, oh, okay. Now they're crying. Okay, but you know, but you know, it's just an interesting area. That it's a large area, but it has so many subzones, and this Olivet Lane is kind of like its own being. You know, right there at Piner and Olivet, that kind of whole transition there. And it's not really hilly, but it does have a lot of waterways, and it has a lot of kind of interesting creek beds and things like that where cool climate air comes out of. It's very interesting.
Right, it's right next to the Laguna de Santa Rosa, so
Yeah.
you have that influence there. And the water table's pretty high in this vineyard.
So delicious. I mean, this is a little bit more of a dense wine. It's got body, it's got structure, boom. But, you know, it's just fun. You know, one of the greatest, I will say this, and this, you'll remember this one. We did an amazing winemaker dinner one time at Gravenstein Grill.
Yes.
And it was Mary, Ken, and Heidi sitting right at the head of a U-shaped thing. So we're here like this, and all the tables go out like that. And it was a very unique winemaker dinner because we never stopped talking. And so like the food would keep coming, and Mary would say, but I have a moment, you know. And,
but it was a conversation too,
it was a
which is
conversation.
fun. It wasn't just like us talking. It was a big conversation among all the patrons.
It's all the patrons, and they're asking really interesting questions. And there was a funny part there where I did bring up this point about you were pregnant when you started here, and Mary said to you in Mary's way, well, you're pregnant, and you're going to have a little baby from the vineyards, and it's going to be the Bucher vineyard. So you're going to make the Bucher baby wine, and this is going to be your child now.
Yes.
And so that was the first ever pressing of the Bucher, and like you got to do that.
That's
like
baby,
that's like your signature, and that's her baby is the Bucher. So if you ever have the Bucher from Merry Edwards, it's actually her baby. So that's what's wonderful. That was one of the greatest winemaker dinners I've ever had. So it was just
mine
fantastic.
too. That was so much fun.
It was great. So I just really am excited to get you involved in this. These wines are amazing. I mean, you guys got to look up maryedwards.com and come here and visit Heidi and the team here. They are great. We're only inside right now because it was loud outside because there's a bunch of people here because they love the wines. And don't forget, they make one of the best Sauvignon Blancs in the United States. But we're talking Pinot because we're talking about this amazing event that's going to be going on next week, and that's going to be at Brickler Winery right here in the Windsor area, which is just a little ways away from here. But it's going to be an amazing event. You can go to sonomawine.com to get tickets, but that is the Pour+Explore Pinot Noir event that's just going to be off the charts, and we get to pour these wines there, and you can taste them. I'm so excited. This is great. Heidi, thank you so much for having me over. This is always fun. I always enjoy visiting you, and
likewise.
We have a lot of fun together, and these wines are awesome. So thanks for tuning in, you guys. The Varietal Show will be back again soon. Thanks for tuning in. Cheers.